For the past couple of months, I've been using something known as forward chess, and today I've decided I'm going to make a review about it, going over the experience that I've had, along with basically everything you need to know if you're deciding whether or not to get it, which will include what forward chess actually is, how to use it, and of course my thoughts about it and how helpful I think it is. One last thing before we jump in. If at any point throughout the video or by the end you decide that you want to go ahead and make a purchase on Forward Chess, I recommend using the link in the description and then at checkout using the promo code ChessGeek so you get $5 off. Okay, let's jump in. So basically Forward Chess is a software that combines a real chess book with a chess board, because if you've ever tried reading a chess book, you've probably ran into the issue where at some point you needed to set up a board, whether it's a real board or an online board on Lichess or something. You had to set up a board, and this could have, arise from multiple reasons. But for example, let's say there's one position and they start reading lines 20 moves ahead and you can't visualize that far, so you need to set up a board and play through the moves. Or if it's a tactics book and you're trying to solve a puzzle, but your solution is not the one that the answer is, and so you want to go through your moves and see where you went wrong. And so all sorts of these reasons require a chess board. But again, setting up a board each time on Lichess is just very annoying and time consuming. So here, the idea is they combine a board with a book, and it makes it much more enjoyable to read along with the book. So I have a desktop version of Forward Chess, but you might have other versions. They also have a mobile version and an online web version. But note that everything that I'm showing here is from the desktop version. So let's begin. Once you go on, you'll have a couple of tabs on your left. The one at the top is your library, so basically all of the books that you currently own. Below that you have the store tab, so all of the books that you can purchase, and you can search for the title and the author, and you can also categorize them by the different publishers. Below that you have a bookmarks section, and I'll show you how to use this and why it is useful. And the fifth one in the bottom is your study, which is where the books will actually appear once you start one. So, in the start it will be empty, but let's go to the library. Let's say that I'm reading Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual. I double press it, and it will take me to the study section. And so here you can see that it's popped up here. I can also open another book, and now you see both of them in the study section. But let's focus on Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual. And so here you see on the top right the table of contents, which is, of course, the table of contents. So all of the chapters, all of the parts of the book you see here on the right. And this is exactly what the actual book is split into. And note that all of these blue text, you can press on them and it'll take you to that section. So 2 rook pawns with an extra pawn on the opposite wing. So you can press on whatever you want to press and it'll take you there. Below that, note that you have the actual board that you can play around with. And on the left, you have the book itself. So let's do an example. Let's suppose that I'm reading this book and I just finished rook or bishop pawn, and I need to start pawn races. So I can press pawn races. It will take me to the pawn races part. I can read the text that would actually be in the real book, and then you see the actual diagrams in the book. So whenever you see a diagram, you can simply press it and it'll appear on the right. And first of all, that's very neat, but the way that you can actually use this is that, in a real book, you would look at this position and you would have to calculate who wins. So b4, f5, and you'd go through the, lines, and in the end you might come to a, winner, and you might be correct, but there's also a lot of cases where it's going to be too hard to visualize that far ahead. And so if you ever get stuck, you can play through the moves here, and this is very helpful because you're not still looking at the solution. You're not using an engine. You're still coming up with the moves yourself, but it is still kind of, using a small hint because you get to see the board next to you. But let's say you actually do get to a position where you're stuck. You don't know how to proceed from here. Well, what you can do is you can look at the solution in the book, and you can go through the solution. In a real book, you would have to read through all of this and visualize it again. But here, you can simply tap at any location. So we currently f1 promoted to a queen, so we're in this location, and you can tap the next one and see, oh, you play queen to b5 check, forcing the queens off, and once the queen goes off, it's clear that you're going to win this race, because in the end, notice that your queen is going to promote and guard the square. But let's say that even here, the real book, in the book itself, they don't continue this variation. They don't go until both players attempt to promote. But let's say you're confused. You think, okay, wait, I still think that black can catch up. And so you play through the lines and you don't realize why black cannot catch up. So at some point you might want the engine to help you, and instead of having to open up Lichess, you can simply go to the Stockfish tab here, press this little box here, and it will show you that this is indeed winning, and you can play through your variation and you still don't understand why it's not winning. You think that both players promote, but then it'll tell you that once they promote, oh, I can take their queen with my queen. And so even the solutions that don't appear in the book, if you still have questions about positions, which is always great to have, you can answer those questions with Stockfish or by being able to just run through the position yourself. So this is just one position, but in almost every position, there's going to be reasons to have a board next to you and to have Stockfish, available. So I think that it's just very useful. Let me talk about some of the other functions that you can use forward chess for. So one thing is, let's say that you just finished reading pawn races. So you read through all of these, you went through all the examples, and you got to this new section. What you can do now, or actually this is not a new section, this is just still connected to pawn races, but let's say we scroll down and you finished pawn races, now you got to the active king. And so let's say that you want to stop here for today, but you don't want to forget where you are, and especially in books that are very long and they have a lot of chapters like this one, you don't really want to have to remember exactly where you were. And so what you can do is once you want to, bookmark your location, simply tap this bookmark icon here, and it will open up a create bookmark box. You can title it whatever you want. For the sake of demonstration, I'll just title it 1. And then you press OK. You can close out the book, do whatever you want. You come back the next day, you go to your bookmarks, and it is there. So you tap on it, and you get to exactly where you left off before, and you can continue reading. Let's say you continue reading until this new section. You can make a new bookmark, title it something, press OK, and in the old bookmark, you can delete the old one that you finished with. And again, you can come back to it. And so you see how useful these bookmarks can be. So you don't even have to keep a mental note of where you stopped. A final thing that I want to mention is in the store. One more thing that I found really useful is that let's say you want to buy a book. So I'm just going to pick a random book here. So from all publishers, let's say you're just scrolling down, you don't know which book to pick, and let's say you want to pick this book, for example, but you don't know if it's a good level for you. You don't know if this might be too difficult, too easy, so you want to sample it. Well, in each book there is a sample option. You press it and it will take you to a similar place that you've seen before, where there's the contents on the right, but now you can't actually access every chapter. You can only access some chapters that are going to be highlighted in blue. And so for this book, only the first chapter you can access. And so they give you a small sample of the book. You can read through all these positions, you can play out through all the moves, and get to the positions. And again, it's very nice to have the board here. But you can read through it, and that is how you can base a decision on whether or not to buy that book. And so I think it's just very useful to have that ability to sample books that you're thinking of buying. Now let's take a moment and talk about the pricing, because I think that the pricing is one of the most important things for most people when they are thinking about what to buy. But also, I just think that the pricing for forward chess is incredible. In fact, I think that most people, including myself, would think that the books on forward chess would be a decent amount more expensive than if you had to buy them on Amazon, for example. But it's actually quite the opposite. In fact, all of the books that I have, which are basically these 3, because you get 3 of them for free when you get forward chess, all of these 3 books that I have here, all of them are cheaper to buy on forward chess than they are on Amazon. And I also tried to compare some of the prices for the other books, like Street Smart Chess and some of the other books I saw here. And so far, all of the books that I've looked at have been cheaper by a lot on forward chess. And so I encourage you, by the way, you can also look at these prices online on forward chess. And so you can go ahead and try to do some of your own research on specific books that you want. But note that it's actually the opposite, and you're not actually paying more to have them here, you're paying less, which is just, I find, ridiculous. So it's amazing. The pricing is just really, really good. You don't pay a monthly fee to use Forward Chess or anything like that. It's just a one-time fee for every book that you buy, and it is just really good pricing. So hopefully through this video I've helped kind of highlight what Forward Chess is and how to use it, and hopefully I've answered all of the questions that you've had about Forward Chess, but I'm sure that some of you have other questions regarding Forward Chess, so don't hesitate to leave them down below. I'm making this video to help make your decision of whether or not to invest in Forward Chess as easy as possible. And so if you have any sort of questions, I'll try to answer all of them. And once again, before we end the video, I will remind you that if you made a decision and you want to go ahead and buy a book from Forward Chess, then press the link in the description and also use the coupon code ChessGeek so you get $5 off. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.